GEOINT community.
Good morning.
There you go. So thank you, first of all, to our friends at Maxar for producing such a wonderful welcome video. Welcome, everyone, to Aurora, Colorado. And welcome to GEOINT 2022, the Foundation of Intelligence. I'd like to give a very special thank you to Master Sergeant Amanda Van Holten for starting us off this chilly spring morning with our national anthem, and to the Buckley Space Force Mile High Honor Guard for the delightful presentation of colors. Please give them a round of applause. United States Geospatial Intelligence Foundation, the Foundation of Intelligence. It has a nice ring to it. On this stage, in 2019, then PD&I Sue Gordon said that geospatial intelligence was poised to be the hero of the next decade. Oh my goodness, she was very, very right. Geospatial intelligence is ubiquitous and essential to decision-making across myriad missions, as has been demonstrated in unprecedented global events. And we're only a short bit of the way into this decade. Tomorrow, when Sue is here on the stage, we might have to ask her to gaze into her crystal ball and give us a little bit more of a prediction of what's in store for the rest of the decade. It was so fun to see so many of you last night at our welcome reception. A big thank you to AWS for sponsoring such a first-rate kickoff event. And it's great to see all of you this morning. This place is packed in the best way possible. A special thank you to Hawkeye 360 for being the sponsor of this glorious main stage. Our tradecraft continues to grow and prosper. This is one of the largest GEOINT symposiums ever. Look across. This year's attendees represent more than 1,050 organizations, including 45 academic institutions, 36 US states, and 29 countries. Raise your hand if this is your first GEOINT symposium. Raise them high, look across the room. 30% of our guests are first timers. Yeah, raise them up again, let's see who you are. Yes, welcome, welcome them, yes. And how nice it is to see everyone in person, right? Not just from here up, like all of you, and to make those connections. There's nothing quite like an in-person connection. And that you are all here today in these unprecedented times underscores the value that we as a community derive from convening to hear and to interact with leaders, to build our skill sets through training, and to connect and reconnect, to explore new technologies and innovations, and so much more. This year, our theme is the Foundation of Intelligence. And as you'll likely hear throughout the week, this theme resonates with many of our community leaders in a variety of ways. For me, the Foundation of Intelligence is about the idea that everything that happens in the world, whether we know about it or not, has a geospatial aspect. GEOINT is the great unifier. It is a commonly understood frame of reference upon which we can integrate an increasing number of data and inputs to provide context, meaning, and predictive insight. For important national security missions to environmental and humanitarian relief, geospatial intelligence is providing decision makers a more complete picture. When we gathered for the GEOINT Symposium in St. Louis this past October, we collectively reveled in the power of our truly ubiquitous discipline and the resiliency of our community. Throughout the pandemic, GEOINT has been front and center on the world stage, Heck, the winning entry for the 2021 Tradecraft competition was about predicting the spread of COVID-19 in localities. Predictive geospatial insights. And now, GEOINT continues to provide decision makers a more complete picture in support of Ukraine. Yesterday, during GEOINT Forward, we heard the drumbeat of innovations, integrations, partnerships, and optimism. And while EO, electro-optical imagery, continues to prove the old adage that a picture is indeed worth 1,000 words, we spent some time immersing in the expanding spectrum of phenomenology. More and more numbers and varieties of unclassified sensors are coming online. For example, we heard about the new word for me, geointification of RF satellites, and the incredibly accurate measurements from space by SAR sensors. The integration of this data, combined with advanced analytic tools and amazing humans, is providing critical information across an increasing range of mission areas, including helping the people of Ukraine. And we're not just watching this unfold. As a community, we're partnering, we're flexing, we're declassifying, compiling, and more to better respond to the needs of the people of Ukraine. Your collective efforts have been and continue to be nothing short of amazing. Please give yourselves a hand for all that you do. It's not a stretch for me to say that most everyone here today has had a hand in building this foundation of intelligence that is so crucial to our national security. For those of you today that are just entering the community, and yes, students, I'm looking right at you, I hope you have a sense of how important our community is to the world. And I predict by the end of the week, you will have an even stronger sense. We've got an amazing week lined up for you. Have you seen our agenda? Oh my goodness. We have, at last count, 268 speakers, 171 individual sessions, including 33 training sessions. There are 215 exhibitors and 7 working group meetings, to name a few, and lots of networking opportunities. In addition to our main stage, keynotes and panels, we have 3 hubs of programming this afternoon in the exhibit hall where we will continue some of the conversations that you hear from this morning. So we will have our government hub, our young professionals hub, and our innovation hub. Please remember to download the GEOINT 2022 app to keep up to date with session times and speakers and other fun ongoing activities. While our 17-person staff at USGIF is mighty, it truly takes a village to host this event. And we could not possibly host it without the generous support of our community. Take a look at these logos. These are our premier, diamond, and platinum sponsors. And these are our gold, silver, and media sponsors. Please join me in giving them all a round of applause. One of the ways I've been getting excited about the GEOINT Symposium is seeing all of your posts on social media. So I'm here to say, keep it up, right? You can tag us both at USGIF and GEOINT Symposium on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook with quotes, observations, selfies, and pictures of what you believe are the most exciting aspect of this event. And use the hashtag GEOINT2022 to stay up to date on the latest chatter. For many in our community, geocaching is a fun way to explore the world and learn some new geospatial skills. Well, we have a similar adventure for you in store this week. Backed by popular demand, we have our virtual scavenger hunt, AKA the GeoHunt. There are dozens of 4-digit codes hidden throughout the exhibit hall, and elsewhere you might be looking for information, hint, hint, about the symposium. When you find one of the codes, enter it into the GeoHunt module in our event app. The competition will last all week, and the winner will be announced on social media after the symposium concludes. And there can only be one winner, so along with some serious bragging rights, that individual will win a complimentary full registration to the 2023 GEOINT Symposium. Shout out to Scott Kaplan from the Civil Air Patrol, who was the 2021 GeoHunt champion. So without further ado, let's get this party started. I would like to invite my good friend and chairman of the USGIF Board of Directors, Robert Cardillo, to the stage.
Thanks, Rhonda, and good morning to you all. Nothing quite like being amongst 4,000 of our closest GEOINT friends, so thanks to each of you for making today possible. Myself and my fellow board members and I have been eagerly anticipating this year's event, especially given all the hard work from Ronda and her team. It's hard to believe this is put on with a staff of just 17 people. They really know how to put on a show. Thank you, Ronda, and to your team. Well done. Now, speaking of teamwork, I'd be remiss if I didn't pause to reflect that today is Anzac Day, Australia-New Zealand Army Corps, and it's a reflection of really of who we are, broad community partners coming together for a common cause. Rhonda mentioned that we are slowly learning to cope and manage with the pandemic, but we're glad to see each of you here in person for now a couple of events, last fall in St. Louis and now here in Aurora. And the foundation, because of your help and your support, continues to grow, expands its reach, and creates greater impact. Now, while the team at USGIF has much to do with that expansion, their efforts wouldn't succeed without the entire community. And that's you again. We see evidence of this in the number of commercial satellites in space, the addition of new data analytic companies. We see it in the organizations exploring the use of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and computer vision, and to make the most of that human-machine teaming. It's evident in how we're now able to manage and leverage the cloud computing, high-performance compute, to generate GEOINT that previously was not possible. And now we see even new business models as well, such as the NGA Accelerator, Moonshot Labs, and the multi-tenant SCIF project that's going into the Globe building in St. Louis. And just last week, speaking of St. Louis, both the generosity of Andy Taylor and the cooperation of 8 research institutions came together to form the Taylor Geospatial Institute. I encourage each of you to learn more about it at the Greater St. Louis Inc. booth, or you can go to taylorgeospatial.org. Now, as Rhonda noted, our community is again proving the value of us on the global stage. We apply bleeding edge technologies, novel modalities, and innovative approaches to an increasingly complex set of national security issues. The fuel to all of that, of course, are our people, the human ingenuity. And you'll see that reflected throughout our programs during this symposium. Just this morning, in fact, you'll hear from General Rich Clark, the commander of the U.S. Special Operations Command, widely regarded as the most innovative and agile military command in the world. Now, you were also scheduled to hear from my good friend, Lieutenant General Jim Hockenhall, the Chief of Defense Intelligence from the UK. Unfortunately, world events have interrupted the General's ability to be with us here, and so I've told him already, we look forward to seeing him next year at our GEOINT in St. Louis. Now, of course, we'll be hearing from Admiral Sharp this morning as he and the agency continue to meet those mission needs of the nation while at the same time transforming how it acquires and produces GEOINT. It truly is a remarkable time for our profession. Now, I do want to bring a bit of extra attention this morning to the panel that's going to take place right after our first break here on the main stage. As I mentioned earlier, the fuel to everything we do are our people and their ingenuity. and I could not be prouder of all that our community delivers, but I know we can do more. Now, the panel I'm referring to is called a high-resolution GEOINT community. It will bring together 4 leaders who play a special role in our discipline to talk about the actions that we collectively need to take to ensure that we've got the diversity, the equity, and the inclusion that we need in our GEOINT community. Now, by the way, those of you who were here yesterday, you might have seen an inspiring presentation from the new NGA Deputy Director, Tanya Wilkerson, about her personal journey into our community and now how she's reaching back to open the doors even wider. Now, those of you who attended the last day of our symposium in St. Louis would have recalled seeing a similar panel that brought to light some of the issues that we've been dealing with. Things like Chief Gus Wright's compelling story of being raised in an impoverished neighborhood by parents who had 9 sons struggling to make ends meet, and the impact that that had on his ability to get a security clearance, particularly when it came time for the credit check portion of his background. Now, I know Chief Wright has returned to be with us this week. If you don't know him, I encourage you to reach out to meet him and find out why he's one of the finest warrant officers in our Army, and someone whose impact on the community might not have been realized because of the circumstances of his background. Now, that panel was so eye-opening and so powerful that we wanted to continue that conversation on the main stage on our first day. So I will encourage you now and later to be back in your seats at 10:30 as we focus on the actions that we all need to take to erode the barriers to entry to our community, ensure that the human ingenuity that fuels our progress benefits from a diverse and inclusive workforce. Just as our missions benefit from technological collaboration, they also depend on the clarity of vision that comes from that diverse workforce. Now, as you're hopefully aware, aside from bringing to light of issues of diversity and inclusion, and how they belong in forums like this, another way that USGIF contributes to a healthy and diverse pipeline is through our scholarship programs. Since we last gathered, the community, that's all of you, have continued to fuel the pipeline via generous support to our USGIF 2022 scholarship fundraising efforts. USGIF offers scholarships to assist students studying GEOINT, geospatial sciences, and related fields. And today, I'd like to recognize the support of some of our most generous donors. RGI and Riverside Research are continuing their annual scholarships. RGI for Geospatial Engineering Scholarship, Riverside for Advanced Remote Sensing Applications. We also have 2 new scholarships to announce, thanks to Maxar and Ivona, each of which has committed to a multi-year, scholarship donation. And I'm pleased to note that both of these recurring scholarships will be designated to increase diversity in our pipeline. We've also received generous donations from Esri, the Globe Building, T-Rex, and Tanzel. And we have some incredibly generous individuals in our community as well, some of whom you see reflected here. And there are many others who contributed as well, and let's give all of these people a hand. And I can remind you that the campaign continues and your donations are welcome. You could visit USGIF's booth, 1935. 100% of any funds donated go directly to scholarships as we continue to grow our talent pipeline.